The morning sun cast its gentle rays onto the dew-dropped grass. Cane walked the damp path to the Oak Mother. He didn't wish to meet with that mythical tree. No, she would not help him in any way. He was an elf nor from Nisse, so she would care little for his plight. The village elder, Eizo, however, would meet with him. After all, Eizo's grandchild, Apollo, was one of Cane's soldiers. Though that relationship was only just discovered when the group had arrived in Nisse only a few days ago. He was happy for his friend and finding a family he thought was lost. Cane doubted his half-brother Thalor was still alive. For a temple, the Oak Mother had impressive defenses. The walls that encircled the shrine were massive, stretching up to the tree line. However, the Oak Mother's branches still stood taller than her walls. There was a moat carved around the wall, fed by the river that flowed through Nisse. They had not given it a name. They mostly just called it the river. Cane walked across the already lowered drawbridge into the garden of the mother. It was a splendid garden filled with countless flowers and botanical wonders. Cane didn't know much at all about flowers, nor did he care, but he could respect the grandeur of it all. It was a symbol of the Oak Mother's power and the life she gave to her elves. She had saved them from the cataclysm that killed so many. Cane thought of Pelor's monuments and their splendor, and why the sun god had not saved Thalor from his death. Lost in this thought, Cane walked the straight staircase, uninterested in the tiered plateaus the garden was comprised of, each platform having a stone ring holding in the earth, each platform having a more beautiful spectacle of nature's wonder than before. The sounds of nature, bird chirps, and crickets' tunes were drowned out by the rush of water. Cane had seen fountain designs like it before, but none as large and none as breathtaking. It was then that over the roar of water he heard a voice calling to him. "The better view is up here, Prince. Come on and take a look." The voice came from the edge of the highest plateau, a flat marble disc overlooking all, and on it sat the chief, Eizo. Eizo's face was a mix of scars and wrinkles, his white hair haggard from old age and many fights. The elder was cloaked in a green coat, its edges covered in mud, dirt, and the blood of many kills. His great mace Eizo was not with him, but he carried 2 knives on his belt. His ears twitched as Cane approached, and he turned his head to get a better look at the young man, even though the eye he used was covered by an eye patch. Eizo patted the spot next to him on the marble and said, "Cane, sit down with me and chat." Cane wondered how the chief lost his eye. But he sat next to the elf, moving to the side of him with the good eye. He thought it would be rude to sit on his blind side. "I thought it was best to come to the chief and show my respect before anything else," Cane said, bowing his head. Eizo nodded to signal that he appreciated the kindness before speaking once more. "The elves here have never opened our borders to strangers. As the first human to set foot in this village, I hope you set a good example." The chief was correct. The only Nisse elves he had ever encountered were Nayli and Conroy, and that was only a week ago. Their isolation was almost longer than the recorded history of the land, and certainly longer than either Verand or Tovenar. "I promise to uphold your customs and laws as best I can while I stay here, though I hope to keep this stay short." Cane felt restless. His allies were out there risking their lives, but he was asked to stay here. "Patience, young man. Apollo and the others will return shortly, and then you may depart to your homeland." Cane wanted nothing more than to return to Verand. The army Thalor led was destroyed, and Tovenar had revealed their betrayal. It wouldn't be long before Tovenar made an attack on the now crippled Verand. He had to warn them, but before he could deal with Tovenar, he had to get to Verand. And between him and his homeland was the entire kingdom of Tovenar. "Patience will not stop the bloodshed when Tovenar runs my people through," Cane said, staring at Eizo. "Would you even be able to help your people as you are right now?" Eizo said, chastising the boy. "You're right, Eizo," Cane said, laying down on the marble and staring up at the sky. Eizo studied the boy. "I heard from Conroy that you lost 2 comrades in the second cataclysm. A lost ally always hits hard." Cane corrected the chief as he got up. They didn't die. Only my brother passed by the cataclysm. Mononoke and Scorn, they betrayed us. They knew of the plan to destroy the Verand army, and they knew of the plan to kill my brother. He clenched his fist. I can't even hate them. They didn't attack us. They just ran back to their masters while we fought our way out of the horde. Cane felt the memories flooding back. Eizo rested one of his hands on the boy's shoulder. Betrayal stings worse than death. It taints the memories you shared with them, but you can't allow it to. Your feelings for them were genuine. Don't lose sight of that. Cane could feel the tears welling up in his eyes, the anger fading away to sadness. Scorn was almost a brother to me. When we first met, he was so determined to prove his worth to his kingdom. They hated him because he was an orc. But with me and Mononoke, he knew we saw him for who he was. Wiping the tears away, he continued. When it all happened, I wanted to sacrifice myself in that battle. I felt like I lost everything, and the best I could do is keep the others alive. The memories of the undead horde of Verand men bubbled inside of Cane's head. But Apollo, Fosco, Ansem, Eridar, and Thunderhoof brought me back. They weren't going to let me throw my life away. But why had they left him behind? Did they not think he could help them? Did they think he was too weak? Eizo saw the thorn in the young prince's side. Then they must truly care for their commander. The young prince looked up at Eizo. Yeah. And then he turned his attention to the village beneath the platform. All of Nisse spread out across them, bathed in the morning sun. He still had his life, and he still had his mission. He couldn't allow himself to wallow in self-pity. His allies were off struggling versus unknown threats. The least he could do is make sure he was ready for when they returned. Thank you, Eizo. Happy to help, Prince Cane. If you ever need more guidance, don't hesitate to come see me. I've fallen in many pits, and if I can help you avoid them, well then those trials served a higher purpose. With that, Eizo got up. I've got work to do now. Enjoy the view. Then the old elf chief made his way down the great many stairs. Cane thought for a while about his next destination. He could make his way to the tea house, his current lodging, and see if Carol Hart, the innkeeper, had need of any assistance. Or he could make his way to the library. He had heard of a powerful wizard named Ferris who studied there, and might have a way to get Cane to Verand. Cane also could just wander around the village. There were surely others who needed assistance, and many more villagers he hadn't been acquainted to yet. Whichever path Cane would choose, he couldn't agree more with Eizo. There was